Did you know there are parts of the U.S. so empty you could wander for days without seeing another human being? Despite having over 340 million people, making it the third most populous country in the world, entire regions across America feel completely abandoned. From windswept plains to frozen wilderness, these are the 10 emptiest states in the U.S., and some of them might surprise you. Let's start with number 10, Kansas. Flat, wide, and endlessly open. Kansas is the kind of place where the horizon stretches out forever, broken only by the occasional grain silo or a two-lane road disappearing into the distance. It's America's heartland, but it's also shockingly empty. With around 35 people per square mile, Kansas is full of space, but not many people. Most of the population is clustered in a few cities like Wichita and Topeka. Outside that, just small towns, farmland, and sky. The further west you go in Kansas, the quieter it gets. Towns get farther apart. Roads feel more like suggestions than actual infrastructure. And during harvest season, you're more likely to see a combine rolling through the fields than another car on the highway. There's a kind of stillness here that's rare in the modern world. No traffic, no crowds, just open roads and the sound of wind through the wheat. Coming in at number 9 is Nevada. Now, you might think of bright lights and crowded casinos, Las Vegas, Reno, but step outside those cities, and Nevada is a whole different world. In fact, outside of its urban pockets, Nevada is almost completely empty. It's the driest state in the U.S. and one of the most mountainous, believe it or not. The vast majority of the state is desert, scattered with ghost towns, old mining camps, and long-forgotten highways. There are entire stretches where you can drive for hours without passing another car. Just endless valleys, jagged mountains, and sagebrush. Population density here? About 30 people per square mile, but that number is skewed. Take away Vegas and Reno, and the rest of the state is basically a ghost country. What's left is space, silence, heat, and a raw, rugged beauty that hasn't changed in centuries. Number 8 is Nebraska. Nebraska is often overlooked. It's not flashy, not dramatic, but it's quiet, steady, and almost eerily calm. With around 25 people per square mile, it's one of the least populated places in the U.S. when it comes to density. Most folks live near Omaha or Lincoln, and the rest of the state? Sprawling fields, rolling hills, and small towns where everyone knows everyone. Western Nebraska, in particular, feels like a forgotten frontier. There are entire counties with fewer than 10,000 people. Roads stretch for miles with no turns, no traffic lights, and often no cell signal. What's interesting is how little has changed. Farms have been in the same families for generations. Life moves at a slower pace. There's a simplicity to it, but it also means that once thriving towns are shrinking, schools are closing, young people are moving away. Next up, number 7, Idaho. Yes, Idaho. It's not just potatoes, it's mountains, forests, rivers, and a whole lot of empty. Population density sits at about 23 people per square mile. And again, the real story is in the divide. Boise has seen a boom in recent years, but the rest of the state, especially central and northern Idaho, is almost untouched. We're talking rugged wilderness, massive national forests, and places where wildlife outnumber people by a wide margin. Some areas are larger than entire states and have no roads through them. You've got towns that are only accessible by boat or plane, roads that vanish into forest, and communities where everyone knows how to hunt, fish, and survive off-grid. For people looking to get away, Idaho is paradise. But for those who prefer neighbors and convenience, it's a long way from comfortable. At number 6, we've got New Mexico. New Mexico is big, really big, and almost all of it is wide open. With just 17 people per square mile, it's one of the most sparsely populated states in the U.S. There are entire counties here that look like the surface of Mars. Red rock, dry mesas, and endless sky. Santa Fe and Albuquerque are the main population hubs, but outside of that, it's a different world. Long roads cutting through desert, old pueblos tucked into cliff sides, ghost towns slowly disappearing into dust. The sense of isolation here is intense, but so is the beauty. Sunsets that look like paintings, silent canyons that seem untouched by time, and nights so dark you can see the Milky Way stretching across the sky. But there's also hardship. Many rural areas struggle with poverty and lack of services. Communities are spread thin, and while the space can feel freeing, it can also feel forgotten. Still, there's something magnetic about New Mexico. The land pulls you in, even when the people are few and far between. Number 5 is South Dakota. Home to Mount Rushmore and the Badlands, South Dakota might get some tourist traffic, but for most of the year, it's just plain empty. The state averages about 12 people per square mile, and that's including its largest city, Sioux Falls, which only has around 200,000 residents. Drive west, and the towns start to vanish. What's left are wind-swept plains, quiet prairies, and an occasional gas station that feels like a lifeline. Ranches here are massive, often covering thousands of acres. You can drive for an hour and still be on the same property. The western half of the state, especially near the Black Hills, is stunning, but also incredibly isolated. Some areas have more bison than people. Others feel completely frozen in time, with old frontier buildings still standing like the Wild West never really ended. Life here is tough. Winters are brutal. Summers can be scorching, but those who call it home often don't want it any other way. At number 4, North Dakota. Just north of its southern sibling, North Dakota is even emptier, around 11 people per square mile. It's cold, it's rural, and it's incredibly vast. Fargo might be the name most people recognize, but once you leave the eastern edge, the state opens up into a sea of flat land, grain silos, oil fields, and sky. This is a state of extremes. Long, harsh winters with sub-zero temperatures, blizzards that shut everything down, and then quiet. The kind of quiet you can feel. Western North Dakota saw a population bump during the oil boom, but that has leveled off. Many of the small towns remain tiny, with just a few hundred people and often more cows than humans. For some, North Dakota feels like freedom. For others, it's just too remote to handle. But either way, there's no denying it's one of the emptiest places in the country. Number 3 is Montana. They call it Big Sky Country for a reason. Montana is massive. It's the 4th largest state in the U.S. by land area, but has fewer than 1.2 million people. That's just about 8 people per square mile. And if you exclude cities like Billings and Missoula, the rest of the state is almost pure wilderness. Endless mountain ranges, deep forests, winding rivers and valleys that stretch for days, Glacier National Park, the Rockies, the Great Plains. Montana has it all, except for people. There are entire regions where the only signs of life are fences, grazing elk, or a lone pickup truck on a dirt road. The remoteness is part of its charm. People move here because it's empty, to get off-grid, to disconnect, to breathe. But with that solitude comes a challenge. Winters can be long and isolating. Emergencies mean long drives, and if you're not prepared, the land will humble you fast. Still, for those who crave space and silence, Montana delivers like nowhere else. Number 2 is Wyoming. Even emptier than Montana, Wyoming has fewer than 6 people per square mile. It's the least populated state in the continental U.S., and it wears that badge with pride. Cheyenne and Casper are its biggest cities, and neither is very big. Outside of that, it's just mountains, plains, and the occasional tiny town that looks like something from an old Western movie. Wyoming is home to Yellowstone and Grand Teton, but even its most visited places still feel remote. You can hike for miles without seeing a soul. Drive down scenic highways and not pass another car for an hour. And the weather? Wild. Snowstorms in May, high winds year-round, and frigid winters that test even the hardiest locals. Ranching is still a way of life here. So is solitude. This is a state where you need to be self-reliant. But if you can handle it, the reward is unmatched freedom and landscapes that feel like they belong on another planet. Finally, number 1, Alaska. This one's no contest. Alaska is, by far, the emptiest state in America. It's huge, over twice the size of Texas, but has only about 730,000 people. That's less than 1 person per square mile. Most of the population lives in or around Anchorage. Outside that, it's pure wilderness. Massive mountain ranges, icy fjords, glaciers, and forests that seem to stretch to infinity. There are places in Alaska that have never been developed, never been paved, never even been named. Communities where the only way in or out is by bush plane. Towns where the grocery store is resupplied by boat once a week, if the weather allows it. Winters are harsh, nights are long, and isolation isn't just a feeling, it's a reality. But for many, that's exactly the draw. Alaska offers something almost no other place in the world can: total escape. The chance to be completely alone in one of the wildest, most beautiful corners of the planet. It's not for everyone, but it's unforgettable. So where did everyone go? The truth is, they never really went anywhere. These states were always quiet, always wild, always spread out. What's changed is the world around them. Busier, louder, more crowded. And that contrast is what makes places like these feel even more empty today. But sometimes, empty isn't a bad thing. It's space to breathe, room to think, and a reminder that not everything has to move at 100 miles an hour. In a world that never stops talking, there's something powerful about silence. And out here, in the emptiest corners of America, there's plenty of it.